Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders.
Like
Me
a lot
work
of fathers,
upon the
a lot of black
waters,
fathers.
wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be much stronger in the presence of my Savior.
Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters.
That a struggle is something that God puts in front of us to make us stronger. And once you overcome that, you only get stronger. You can pass that on to your daughter, like I passed my struggles on to you, and make a positive out of those struggles. So I think a struggle is a good thing.
You call me out upon the waters.
What's going on, guys? Maurice Johnson here with Black Fathers University. I'm starting a new segment that hopefully I can do more of, where I'm doing kind of casual, candid conversations with fathers and sons. So today I'm going to be asking my father, Clyde Johnson, just 10 questions. Pretty simple questions, but these 10 questions are going to be kind of questions I always want to ask him, and questions I want to hear his answers to as my father, and now as a new father, kind of like how to navigate through fatherhood. So 10 basic questions. I'll go back and forth asking these questions, get the response, and kind of have a little conversation in between. What do you enjoy most about being a father?
Today, I enjoy most about being a father is seeing the fruits of my labor, seeing where you have gotten, where Tyrone have gotten, and a third generation. Okay. Me, you, now Cadence. Right. So I enjoy that. I enjoy looking back, seeing all the things that happened to get us, and I say us as a family, to this point. So I enjoy that.
All right, so question number 2. What is the most important lesson you have learned from your father?
I think the most important lesson I learned from my father was survival skills. I think he gave me a lot of survival skills. Okay. How to put food on the table when there's no food around, how to protect myself, what to look out for in the streets. And I think those things got me out of a lot of situations, So I think the most important thing I learned from him, and I'll never forget the survival skills that he taught me.
So what family member has been your greatest coach in life, and how have they coached you? What family member has been your greatest coach in life, and how have they coached you?
I think if I had to say one family member, would be my sister Val, my oldest sister Val. And I think that the coaching came when I didn't even know I was being coached. Okay. The coaching came when she was reading books to me, well, all of us. She was reading books to all of us for bedtime stories at 5 and 6 years old. And then later on in life, helping you with your homework. And then later on in life, you're getting in trouble, and she taught you a lesson that just stay together as a family. She went to jail with me when she would not let the police take me. She said, I can't let you take him, in the 3rd grade. And the cop said, listen, I gotta lock you up too. And she said, you gotta lock me up there, because I can't let you take him. Yeah. And that's what she did. And today, she sticks with me thick or thin, whether I'm right or wrong. She'll tell me I'm wrong, but she'll still support me in trying to get things right. And so I think in that, she was a mother when my mother wasn't there. She was the father when my father wasn't there. She taught me so much about life. So I would have to say Val.
What's the age difference between y'all?
3 years.
It's 3 years. So she's 3 years older than you.
Yeah, she's two years. 2 years.
2 years older than you. Yeah. Okay. So, but even though she's only 2 years older than you, do you feel like she was like more experienced than you, like she's been through more experiences than you in life, or she just had something in her that could just kind of like guide you and coach you You know what I'm saying? Even though she was only 2 years older than you. So it's not like she was 20 years older than you and you had a peer that was, I've been through it all, seen it all, so let me try to guide him this way.
No, I don't think it was that at all. I think it was just she had a caring spirit. I think she just had a caring spirit and a spirit that she knew, and she had it in her heart that a family was supposed to be a family. And she extended that throughout our lives.
Yeah.
She extended that. She had it in her that this is a family and I'm going to keep you guys together as a family.
As a child, what's the hardest thing you feel like you've been through as a child? And how do you feel like you've overcame that situation or whatever?
I think as a child, the hardest thing I went through was not having a good relationship with my father.
Okay.
I think that was the hardest thing I went through. And because I didn't, and I knew that at an early age, I overcame it by having an excellent relationship with my grandfather. Both of them. They were good men. They were good men, and there was nothing I couldn't go to them and talk to them about, and they would give me honest answers, and I just felt very comfortable around both of them all the time. Great men, and that's how I came over it.
Do you feel like now that you're older, that you can have that wisdom to give to her, even though now that you're a grandfather, and I'm like you said, you kind of stepped away from, having to teach me things.
Right.
Now you can teach her stuff. Like, do you feel like you can kind of like be that grandfather that they were to you, to her?
Yes, and the reason I say that is because they didn't wait for me to ask. They stepped in and did.
All right.
They would see where I needed, and they would do it. My grandfather many a times came and said, "Hey, hop in the car," and took me, and his girlfriend would fix me a full meal, not leftovers, a full meal. And then at the end, he would say, "You want a cold beer before you?" I was only in 6th grade, but still, and little teeny Miller's beer. But I respected him for that, and he would take me home. So
he felt as that like you needed a hot meal.
He needed a hot meal.
All right. At 6 years old.
No, this was I was a teenager.
Oh,
then.
okay.
I was a teenager then. I was 14, 15 years old, and he would come and say, "Hey, get in the car," and he would take me and my brother and my neighbor. And his wife, his girlfriend, would fix us a full meal. Like I said, no leftovers. And he did that 2 to 3 times a week. He would just pop up 2 to 3 times a week. And that's what he
But
did.
was that a hard time? Like, so when he
Yes.
when he popped up 2-3 times a week, did he already know that time in y'all life, at that specific moment, y'all was going, like you were going through
Yes.
something, or you know what I'm saying? Or did this kind of like start as almost tradition at age 10, age 11, and
No, he could see this is what was needed.
All right.
He could see, you didn't have to tell him. He could see that's what was needed. He saw me on the street, he saw me, and then he would roll up. This is something that he saw, never asked, he saw.
Cool. Between Tyrone and I, what life lesson do you feel like you have taught us, or not have taught us yet, that you want to have ingrained, already has ingrained in us, that should carry on for the rest of our life, and then I can pass down from generation to generation or whatever?
I think the lesson that you should have learned, and I'm hoping that you learned, and I'm hoping that you're still learning, is that I'm your father, but you have a father that's stronger than me. You have a father that you can go to anytime, 7 days a week, 7 times a day if necessary, and talk to him and bring all your troubles to him. And if you stick by him, he's gonna pull you through those hard times that I can't pull you through. He's gonna pull you through things that you never thought you could get through, because he pulled me through things that I never thought I could get through. So that lesson, I hope that both of you know that there's a father that's way bigger than me, way stronger than me, that can do things that I can never do. Establish a relationship with him, keep a relationship with him. You can do things that you never thought you could do.
Now, with that, right? If you want Tyrone and I to establish a relationship with the Almighty Father, God, right? Do you think it's gonna take for either of us to almost hit rock bottom or go through something hard to figure out that God can only bring us through that situation? Like, so do you think like they haven't been to that rock bottom place yet, but it's gonna come before we figure out that God is our Almighty Father?
Well, I can't say that. I definitely can't say that. But what I can say is, you should be able to look around your family and see. You should be able to look in this family, me, you, and Tyrone, and see how far God has brought us as a family. You can remember the times when we had no food on the table, and we were grocery shopping at the dollar store. Yeah. so we've come very far now. Yeah. We can eat what we want now. Yeah. So and when we want, and how much we want. Yeah. And at one time we couldn't do it. So you should be able to see rock bottom is not necessary for you to understand that. It shouldn't be, because you've seen the miracles that God can work within our family.
So what's the difference between having faith and that God will bring you through hard times and hard work? So what's the difference between, like, if we're eating at the dollar store, which we did, we go shop at the dollar store. What's the difference between, like, all right, let me just work harder to get us out this, or let me just pray harder to get me out this? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there kind of like a separation between them two? Like,
it is. The separation between those two is this: I can work hard as I want, but without God, that money can be spent in so many different ways and not help the family. I can work hard as I want. Without God, my health can go down and I no longer can work. So you have to have faith that He's going to bring you through. You can put your work in, but without Him actually guiding you and bringing you every day, all that work means nothing.
All right, cool. If you could go back to one day in your childhood, what would it be? If you could just go back one day in your childhood just to enjoy it.
I think if I could go back one day just to see that day again, I think it would be the day that my grandfather was healthy. Either one. Both of them died of illnesses and long drawn out illnesses. And I can remember when they were healthy, when they got up every morning and they had a smile on their face every morning. If I could go back to see that day, either one, that they were healthy and didn't know that they were sick and did their everyday thing, I would trade that for anything, just to see that.
Okay, so before they really got
exactly.
sick, and before you saw the long drawn out illnesses
exactly.
and everything.
Yes.
What memory about your sons can automatically make you laugh? Like, just pop in your head, bust out laughing about either son.
All right, I'll do yours first. You came home one day and your shirt was ripped, and I said, "What happened to your shirt?" And you said, "These two kids, they ripped my shirt." And I'm like, "Well, what did you do?" He said, "It was two. I couldn't do nothing." So I say, "Okay." I said, "Well, this is what you do. Tomorrow, when you go back to school, whenever you see that kid, you punch that kid in his face." And you said, "Okay." So we left here. We left here, and we were riding down the street. And you said, "There's one of them right there." And I stopped the car in the middle of West Street. And I said,
No.
Spiral Road. I said, "Go get him." And you jumped out the car and you beat that kid right there. Got back in the car. Traffic backed up. Then the next day, I said, when you see that other kid, punch him in his face. And you go to school, and at about 11 o'clock, I get a call from the principal. And the principal said, Maurice punched a kid in his face, and his mother was standing right there. I didn't know it was parent-teacher conference day. And the kid mother was with him. When you saw the kid, you punched him in the face. That was it. And I told him, "Man, I'm sorry." I told him to do that, and I explained what happened, and it was a disaster. But that Tyrone, a friend of his, called me one day and said, "Mr. Clyde, I want to tell you something, but I don't really want you to tell Tyrone I told you this." And he said, "I saw Tyrone with some weed in school today." And I'm like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I don't want to get him in trouble. I don't want to see him get in trouble, so that's what I'm telling him." I said, "Okay." That was on a Friday. That Saturday, I had to power wash my sister's house. So I said, "Tyrone, help me power wash Val's house." And we get up on the roof. and I pulled a lean on me move. I said, listen, if you don't tell me where you got that weed, I'm gonna push you off this roof. He immediately told me everything. Where he got it from, where he found it at, and where it was, yeah. And so those 2 days I can think about that and laugh at both of them, yeah.
You smoke crack, don't you?
I pulled that move on.
Man, that's messed up.
Yeah.
All right.
General, what are you the most proud of in your life?
To be honest, I think I'm most proud of my family now. I think I can look back at Tyrone. He's doing well. He's happy. He's doing things. He has a Sierra. He's a woman that he really likes. You're happy. You're married. 1 kid, 1 on the way. A wife that you really love. And I look back on that, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I never had to go through the ups and downs, the changes of jail and getting locked up and all of these type of things. I think the lessons that I taught you guys, they held, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, there were some. I feel like there were some very valuable life lessons that that still stick with me myself today. You know what I'm saying? Like just to kind of like talk about it even more, as far as knowing God.
Right.
And a lot of the stuff that I got into when I was in college, I knew that only God could get me through those situations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially being down there by myself.
Right.
So that's one life lesson. There's many more, but but yeah, like you said, you can look back and say that you're proud of your family, and I think we both appreciate everything that you've taught us. But is there anything that you regret not doing or doing in your life?
Yeah, and I regret this today, and I regretted it years ago, and I'll regret it 20 years from now. I regret not really taking school serious. And I regret it even more now because I can see where education has taken you, Tyrone, where you can leave a job and just go and say, I don't like this no more, and I'm gonna go do something else. And you have the education experience to do it. Tyrone the same way. Tyrone has some great jobs. He's like, I really don't like working inside. It's the counseling jobs and things like that. Yeah. So he was able to change jobs and not lose a beat. I only know one thing.
Right.
I make a good living off of that. But with more education, I could have did those same type of things, left when I want to, did what I want to. I do the things that I do for money, not because I enjoy doing it.
Right.
So I think that the most thing I regret is not taking education serious. And
now, when with your education, are you saying just like in general, like high school, once you graduate high school, not going to college, or like even in high school?
Even in high school, I did enough to get by. I did enough to get by to get my diploma to graduate from high school, and I am out of here.
Yeah.
And that was it. And it should have been a lot more than that. But then again, education was not a big thing in my family. It wasn't that it was taught in my family, that it was pushed. It was just that get through high school and get a job.
Yeah.
But my cousin next door, Daryl, Vonnie, Sylvia, Donald, their parents just instilled in them education. And they were able to do what they wanted, when they wanted, and you can clearly see the difference.
Started this whole Black Fathers University thing. I started back in 2020, like right when the pandemic started, kind of me transitioning out of personal training, and when I became an actual father, and I just wanted to kind of like shed light on a lot of fathers, a lot of Black fathers, and kind of help them kind of like take the right steps to becoming great fathers, because I feel like I had a great father that did that for me, kind of like reared me in the right way. And now that I'm a father, I'm hoping that I can even be half the father that you were to me, to my daughter.
You're doing a great job. I think you're doing a great job. You're struggling, and that's what marriage is, a struggle. And it's a lifelong struggle. And so I think that you realize that, and I think that, you know, as long as you keep your head right, things gonna work out. May not work every day, but they'll work out.
When you say I'm struggling, what do you mean by struggle? Kind of like elaborate on that real quick for me.
I think, I mean by struggling, the trials and tribulations that have been put in front of you, you're overcoming them. And you're overcoming them through faith, you're overcoming them through hard work. A struggle is something that God puts in front of us to make us stronger. And once you overcome that, you only get stronger. You can pass that on to your daughter, like I passed my struggles on to you, and make a positive out of those struggles. So I think a struggle is a good thing to strengthen you as a man, and as women too, but strengthen you as a man.
Maurice Johnson here.
Clyde Johnson.
All right. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.